This week, Kevin McCarthy held a little Q&A session with reporters, and of course, on everybody's minds is, what are you going to do about George Santos? Kevin McCarthy's made it clear he's not going to do anything about George Santos, but reporters are going to keep pressing it because it is an important issue. And this week, after Kevin McCarthy announced that he was blocking Democrats Eric Swalwell and Adam Schiff from the Intelligence Committee, a reporter asked him, why are you blocking them from a committee, but you've put Santos on committees, and he's probably a little bit worse than them? McCarthy became irate, snapped at the reporter, so here is Kevin McCarthy just losing it on this poor reporter. Take a look.
He's got elected by his district, so... Okay, let me be very clear and respectful to you. You ask me a question. When I answer it, it's the answer to your question. You don't get to determine whether I answer your question or not, okay? In all respect. Thank you. No, let's answer her question. So this has nothing to do with Santos. Santos is not on the Intel Committee. But you know what? Those voters elected Schiff, even though he lied. Those voters elected Swalwell, even though he lied to the American public too. So you know what? I'll respect his voters too, and they'll serve on committees, but they will not serve on a place that has national security relevance because integrity matters to me. That's the answer to your question.
So obviously, things there start off already off the rails, right? He's already yelling at that reporter like, you asked a question, I'm going to answer it, except that you weren't answering it, which is exactly what the reporter was pointing out. And then you're like, well, it's answered when I say it's answered, not when you say it's answered. So already you've lost the game, McCarthy. When you have to argue with somebody about whether or not you've answered their question, first of all, that means you didn't answer their question. Second of all, it means you've lost. And you clearly lost your cool as well. Because as you saw in the clip, things only got worse from there. And for the record, his idiotic thing right there at the end, which, by the way, I think is probably the bigger part of the story here. Like, I've seen things you haven't, and Schiff and Swalwell, they lied to people too, and they still get to be on other committees. Where'd they lie? Right? I mean, see, that's the thing you haven't actually been able to point out. Even in the full clip, you still don't point that out. You're like, I've seen things in the intelligence reports that nobody else gets to see, and that's why I did it. Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell, I don't care if you love them or hate them, those guys are not national security risks. You know, the whole Chinese spy thing about Eric Swalwell has pretty much been handled. No information was leaked. Swalwell was never a source of confidential information for the Chinese spy. Like, that's not a thing. You're doing it because you're mad that Republicans got kicked off committees last year. But then, to the big one. Santos was elected by the people. And hey, Swalwell and Schiff lied too, so why not just... There's a world of difference. Look, I have no doubt in my mind that every single person probably running for office last year lied at some point in their campaigns. Does that mean that they misrepresented who they are as a human being to their voters? Absolutely not. Lying is commonplace in politics. Don't pretend like it's not. But what Santos did is worlds apart from what any other politician has done except maybe Herschel Walker. You lied about who you are. Like, we may not even know your real name. And every other day, a new scandal has come out about this man. The latest, of course, the Ponzi scheme, and the fact that he may have forged another person's signature on his campaign finance filings. Now, that's illegal 100%. And that's just out of the last 2 days of scandals for George Santos. But the bigger one, of course, is that he lied to these voters in Nassau County about who he is. The person they voted for doesn't actually exist. So that is worlds apart from a politician who says like, oh no, I want to push this policy, and then they don't push the policy. Like, technically that's a lie, but Santos pretended to be a completely different human being. That other human being is who those voters voted for. They were duped. And Santos should pay a price. And unfortunately, that may mean that the voters in that county have to pay a price until they can get somebody else in office. And I guarantee you, Even if Santos stays, there's not going to be anything that benefits the voters in that district coming from George Santos himself. McCarthy lost his cool because he's tired of dealing with this. He lost his cool because he knows he has no excuses for it. Reporters need to keep pressing him. Make him lose his cool even more. Make this something he can't ignore. That's why he's getting pissed off. And it's the press's job at this point to keep him pissed off by continuing to ask him about these scandals.
Hi, everyone. This here is little Athena. And Athena would like to know why you haven't subscribed to Fair and Balanced yet. So please, don't let Athena down. Subscribe today.